To page 389, and today we learn the log laws. I showed you the product law the other day. This is the one that says if you are multiplying inside of a logarithm, you can change it to adding the two logarithms. And your log laws kind of work like identities. So if you have two logs.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for the interruption. If we could all have all students involved in sources of strength, please come to the office for our meeting right now after doing attendance. Thank you.
All right. So if you are adding two logs with the same base, you can now put them together and multiply. So for example, if I had log base 2 of, what should I do here? It doesn't really matter. Log base 2 of 3 plus log base 2 of 7, that would be the same as log base 2 of 21. So you can switch them back and forth. If you had log base 2 of 21, you could say, oh, 21 is 3 times 7, and you could break it up to add. And we're going to find out, sometimes it's going to be nice to combine them together, and sometimes it's going to be nice to break them up. So that's log law number 1, the product law, which means that multiplying inside of a logarithm is the same as adding. And you know how logarithms are connected to exponentials? You had a similar rule in exponentials. You had a rule that said if you multiply powers, you add the exponents. That is the ugliest looking thing. Right? So we've seen this idea before of a rule: when you multiply something, you add. Okay? And it's actually, if you listen to grade 9 teachers sometimes, it sounds like they're going crazy. Like if you were in elementary school, you'd listen to your teachers, and grade 9 teachers, and they think they've lost it. Math has gone crazy. Because in powers, teachers take out a bunch of the words. Instead of saying, when multiplying two powers with the same base, we add the exponents. Instead, in grade 9, they just say, remember guys, when you multiply, you add. Which isn't true, right? When you multiply, you multiply. When you add, you add. But we have this rule that says when you multiply, you add, and now it comes up again in logarithms. What was the rule for dividing powers with the same base? Subtract the exponents. And we have a quotient law for logs, that if you're dividing inside of a logarithm, you can subtract them. And if you're subtracting, and you have to make sure that the bases are the same, it only works if the bases are the same. If you're subtracting, then you can combine it into a single logarithm. And finally, we had a power law in exponents. What did you do if you had 3 to the 4 to the 5? You multiply that. Okay? And so if you have an extra exponent in a logarithm, that extra exponent comes out in front and you multiply as well. So if I had log base 7 of 6 to the 5, I could bring the 5 out in front, and it would be the same as 5 log base 7 of 6. These 3 log laws are on your formula sheet. We consider the left-hand side the simplified side. Writing it as a single logarithm is considered simplified. And we would consider the right-hand side the expanded side. And what we're going to do with our log laws is, at the beginning, we're just practicing them. And you're just getting good at the skill of working with them. And then we're gonna find out how these are useful for solving equations afterwards. But before we can get good at solving the equations, we have to get good at working with our log laws. So here is example number 1. And it says simplify. So as far as your log laws that are up on the board over there, we would like to write everything as the left-hand side. Simplify. Sometimes they'll ask, can you write it as a single logarithm? So in A, you're adding. Do we have the same base? Yes, the base is 10 in each of them. So log 7 plus log 8 would be the same as log of 7 times 8, which is just equal to log of 56. So this would be simplified, more simple than the first equation. In B, we have a number out in front. The log law says if you're multiplying by a number out in front, that number can get moved in. Oops. Base is still 10. There we go. Moved in as an exponent. And 2 to the 5 is 32, so this would be simplified to just be log base 10 of 32. Remember, if they don't write a base, it has a base 10 there. And finally, in C, you're subtracting. There's a log law that says that's the same as dividing. The bases are the same. You have 8 over 16, which simplifies to 5. And that is working with log laws and simplifying them. Questions for practice on this one are 4 and 12, so circle those.